Thanks for joining us for Issues and Answers. I'm Ian Boyne. We want to talk about the significant work that the Factories Corporation of Jamaica is doing. There are some flagship projects in St. Thomas, in St. Catherine, also in Kingston. We have with us the Managing Director of the FCJ, Dr. Donald Farquharson, and the Chairman, Littleton Tanny Shirley. We thank you so much for your company. Gentlemen, good to be back on the program with you. Let's talk about the project in St. Thomas, that old Goodyear premises. Big plans for there, big plans for the transformation. Start with you, Chairman. Tell us about the concept of that industrial park.
Yeah, let me say this is a good year for Goodyear.
Yes, a good year. And a good year for the people of St. Thomas.
Of course,
they have
of
long
course.
needed this kind of
course.
development.
It's just unfortunate that you have a area of this country, a parish, that has persons that are so ambitious,
Yes.
so proud of their history, so proud of themselves, that has been left behind and perceived as being forgotten.
Yeah.
We believe, following the mandate of the Prime Minister, to look at St. Thomas, to ensure that job creation becomes a focal part of where we go with St. Thomas. That we went there, we listened to the people, we understood their cry, we listened to their demand in terms of why St. Thomas has been forgotten.
Yeah.
Why is it we can't have a good university? Why we can't have jobs? Why we can't have good courthouse? Why we can't, names go on.
Yes.
And after listening to them, it came, and I fed back all this information to the Prime Minister. We sat and we discussed and we conceptualized what would be best to answer those cries. And the concept of a new urban center came into play.
Okay.
We sat on it. We brought in a design engineer. Okay. We sat with our board. We sat with management. We had discussions. We put together all these ideas, sat down, and then conceptualized how do you transcend from dormancy to a breath of fresh air.
Yes.
Which the town was asking for. And the fusion of government agencies with private sector businesses that would balance each other. Because where government agencies are, you have workers. These workers are consumers, so they would benefit private sector enterprises. So it was not a major concept that you couldn't figure out. And therefore, how do you structure them? How do you create an environment that would allow for all these activities, a one-stop shop, so to speak, with all the government agencies on there to create greater efficiencies? How do you fuse that together with a private sector entity meeting the demand of what the private sector were asking? Why is it there's not a fast food chain in St. Thomas that is,
Yes.
Why is it there's not a proper supermarket? Why is it the big boys are not out there creating jobs, creating opportunities? At the same time, we were very concerned that when you relocate these activities from the old town, that the town would not become ruined, that we would create a breathing space for the town, but still keep the town alive.
Yes.
And therefore, the concept was to, once you do that transition, it was displacement with replacement concurrently. How do you get that old town functional? And the concept was to create a heritage town out of it. The government will have to come up with concept how to give incentives for people to reinvest back into Old Town, create the space that the Old Town was crying that they didn't have, create the tourism impact. And once you create that with the new highway, I mean, let's talk about that down the road, but once you create that concept of facilitating business, then you create a conduit in which people will go to that location.
Yeah.
And that's when the highway concept would facilitate that conduit.
Yeah.
And when you look at all the other activities that would take place within the couple miles from where the Port Royal, the new airport that's going to be expanded, a new port at Port Royal, the highway is going to open up all the necessary investment, tourism, hotels, private sector business, shortest distance between downtown.
So it's a new day for St. Thomas.
It's a new.
Major things
it's going to be
horizon.
major. It's going to be a game changer. The opportunities, mass movement of persons going through the town. But most importantly, fulfilling the people of St. Thomas' expectation that jobs will be created for them.
Yes.
Proper schooling will be created for the children and people who work there. People can feel free that in urban centers, you don't have to think about migrating your family. They can born, go to school, be creative, have jobs,
achieve their dreams,
and achieve their dreams within their community. It will show more regard for their community and more protection of their community, which is what the Prime Minister is putting on his agenda, social order. So the whole idea of this urban center is a combination of respecting the rights and the sacrifices of the people of St. Thomas and Mount Bay.
Who have such a rich history.
And such a beautiful parish.
Yes, absolutely.
So you would you meet those expectations. You would also ensure that the sustainability of the dysfunctionality that we see in past urban centers
we don't have that dysfunctionality.
will not be. It will be driven by state order. It will be driven by confined area. And therefore, businesses and government agents can go to that cutting edge.
So sustainable development.
Of sustainable efficiency.
Development. Take a break. Tani Shirley is so excited about the projects under the FCJ. He would speak on and on because he really feels strongly about these projects, and particularly about what is going to be happening in St. Thomas, part of our island with such a rich history. He has more to tell us when we come back from this short break.
We want a productive Jamaica. We are not productive Jamaicans. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity is the way to go for all us Jamaicans. Small business, big business, old and young, we are tell every woman and man. We want growth and prosperity for a better nation with a building plan. So we can build our product and sell our product and put more money in our hand. Our economy can rise to a level and build a better nation. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand.
Productivity, pathway to prosperity. A message brought to you by the Jamaica Productivity Center, a department of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
Big employment and industrial projects for St. Thomas, St. Catherine, and Kingston, and two of the persons who are at the forefront of these developments, who are driving things. The managing director of the Factories Corporation of Jamaica, Dr. Donald Farquharson, and the chair of the FCJ, Tani Shirley, are here with us. And before I come back to you, Tani, just want to bring in the MD. The Morant Bay Urban Center will consist, I'm looking at a release here of commercial lots that will be rented for agribusiness, business process outsourcing, warehousing, other commercial activities. 365,000 square feet of factory space will be available. What will be the employment impact?
So we expect the BPO solutions to be at minimum 6,000
6,000.
employees. Additionally, probably another 3,000 as it relates to the industrial and small retail complexes, plus government. As you are aware, and there is a footprint of the Goodyear plant that is already in place, which is approximately 130,000 square feet. So the design concept actually have an integration of both public and private sector in one physical space, because we are also bringing the courts and the parish council there, as the chairman indicated earlier, as it relates to security. That is going to be provided. So this is a gated city, so to speak, with management by the government providing security services. We expect to add to that. The point I wanted to make is that we expect to put in water harvesting, we expect to put in PV systems. It is our view that the production costs of business is so high in the country that if FCJ can facilitate the reduction of those costs by providing PVC system which supplements the power usages, which supplement, a matter of fact, there is 3 wells which are on the Goodyear property which presently service quite a percentage of St. Thomas. And the JPSCO main substation, which takes electricity from Kingston to that side of the island, is actually sited on the plan. So we believe that there's tremendous infrastructure that is in place that makes this development more significant. Additionally, Ian, think about it this way. We sometimes think of ourselves as a third world country. And what is the logics of having 8 to 10 different government agencies in 8 to 10 physical parcels of land, 8 to 10 buildings, different business transaction costs, security costs? So it is our view, and I believe the Prime Minister's view, that going forward, this sense of urbanization must be joined by bringing the government agencies together, supplemented by private sector. So when you look at Lucy, when you look at Falmouth, when you look at some of these old urban rural centers, they needs to be upgraded and brought to a different level. So we believe that the concept as indicated by the Prime Minister is one which should be replicated through the small rural towns. And for me, St. Thomas is the pilot.
Yes, good. Talk a little bit about Nagahead.
Okay, so Nagazed is where we expect to set up our Nagazed Technology Park. We expect to build as much as 750,000 square feet.
750?
Yes. 1,000 square feet of space to facilitate business process outsourcing. We have added to that a joint venture with UDC where an additional 16 acres of land is adjoining to that 34 acres of land, property that we own in Nagazed. And we're now saying that we will also put in place an industrial park adjoining, similar to what we are contemplating for St. Thomas, but we will also add all the amenities and functionalities to support the BPO sector, whether that be food services, wellness center, etc. So we do expect that over 20,000 jobs
20,000
will be created just by the BPO center itself, not to add the industrial and small complexes which would be added to that.
And Garmix also, Chairman, there'll be an upgrading of the old Garmix complex.
Yes, we look at Garmix, and as you know, it's 100% occupancy. We have green land there, and we plan to expand. We have existing building that we feel that would be good to expand on also to a second tier. So we are maximizing the space on Garmix. We are giving it a uplift in terms of a good feel, good look, in so that businesses continue to feel comfortable in that environment. We have done a lot of work there in terms of restructuring, in terms of cleaning up the place, in terms of paying attention to some of the concerns that the existing tenants. A lot of the tenants are there for a good while. A lot of them want to expand and want more space. In fact, I would say whatever we expand in Garmix, 30 to 40% of it will be consumed by existing tenants.
Tenants.
So that is a good sign of confidence in an environment in which we do business. So that is our next major. We already will be demolishing some of the old buildings that are there that are dysfunctional and allowing for space for future expansion.
What's your final summing up of the significance of the thrust of the FCG? We have just about a minute. The significance of your thrust and your role in the Jamaican economy
is to lead, show good leadership, show good governance, show that government can be private sector driven. Government can create public-private partnership and make success in what they do and come to the table with trust and transparency that people can buy into. That's my role.
Good. Good to have had you, gentlemen. We are excited about what is to take place in terms of industrial development and job creation. So important to utilize the skills of our people, particularly our young people. The Factories Cooperation is what we have been focusing on this today. Until next week, Ian Boyne wishing you a very pleasant day.